Hello, fellow travelers. It is day 2 and a sea day. We are cruising Queen Charlotte Sound, and it's pretty outside. It's pretty early in the morning, and it's kind of misty, and the sun's coming up, and I'm filming off the balcony, and I'm hoping it turns out well, so we'll see. So I had room service this morning. Seabourn has the most extensive room service menu, little door hanger, that you order breakfast the night before and they deliver it to you. It has all kinds of stuff on there that you don't normally see, including Eggs Benedict. So that's what I got. But I'm going to see that I'm going to have to do this more often, because they had Belgian waffles, they had Swedish pancakes, they had crepes, they had all kinds of things that you do not normally see on those kinds of menus. And I have to try them now. It's research. The sacrifices I make. Okay, so anyway, it is a sea day, basically, and so I'm going to wander around the ship and see what I can get into. There's a bunch of things going on. There's the Ventures lecture, which is the team that does like the zodiacs and the kayaks off the ship. So we get to hear about what those are like, and I think there's something from the ship photographer about photography. There's the captain's toast, and yeah, I'll see what kind of trouble I can get into. Time to get this ducky party started. Everybody's ready, and it's time to hide 'em. This is from the buffet who made that gyro for me. And that's a bean steak. This is the Grand Salon. We're getting ready for our talk about Seabourn Ventures, which is the kayaks and zodiacs.
Hello again. Thank you for your attention. Just a little bit of background. I've been kayaking for a little while, since 1976. I've paddled most of the rivers in South Africa and in the ocean. And I've paddled with Seabourn both in Alaska and also down in Antarctica for 2 seasons. The kayaking that we do is all in double kayaks. So we have 8 doubles, 16 guests. They're very stable craft. They're plastic. They're very, very stable craft. So some people have reservations about that, but they're pretty safe. When we go, the trips are. It's just a brief overview of what we do. The trips are 2 hours, ship to ship, so from when you leave until when you come back. And we'll go as fast as the slowest boat. We have a mixed group of people. Some folks are experienced kayakers and some have never kayaked before. So we'll go as fast as the slowest boat. And the whole idea is just to immerse ourselves in where we are. The wildlife is not intimidated by the kayaks generally. They'll come up close, the sea lions, the seals, and as long as we just drift along, we can see that. We can look down into the water. I call it snorkeling by kayak. There's a lot of stuff under the water that we miss sometimes when we're in zodiacs or we're rushing around trying to get from point A to point B. In terms of the gear that we have, everybody that comes with us, we put you in a dry suit, purely because the water is quite cold. So if the water is colder than 10 degrees, our operating procedures are that we all wear dry suits. We'll have it down outside. All the gear will be on the deck 5. With the kayakers there, all the gear is there for you. Welcome to come and have a look and come and ask us questions. I won't cover all of that now.
Can do happen where we will need to participate, shall we say. I was on board the Seabourn Quest as one of my first gigs as cruise director, and the ship got stuck due to some heavy winds in port, which means that our guest entertainers couldn't leave, but they'd exhausted all of their shows, and we couldn't have the new ones flying in, so it was problematic. So we'd run out of all entertainment, so I did my show, then I did a second show, then I made up a third show, and at which point people said, "Robert, don't mean to be mean, we like you, but we're sick of you now." And I said, I get it, I'm sick of myself as well. But Moments like this present an opportunity. My background was singing. I've been in a few musicals and things like that, and I also worked as part of the 12 Irish tenors, even though technically I'm an English baritone, so that's a strange one. But with your permission, I'd like to do a number for you tonight. Would that be all right? Fantastic news, because I was going to do one anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, from, in my opinion, the greatest musical of all time, that is Les Miserables, I would like to sing a song that made me want to become a singer in the first place, sung by the misunderstood villain of the piece, Detective Inspector Javert. This is my interpretation, and I do hope you like it, of Stars. Thank you. Out in the darkness, a fugitive running, fallen from God. And so it must be, so it is written, by the doorway to paradise, that those who falter and those who fall must pay the
After turn down, we got a rose this time. Hello, travelers. So it's the end of day 2, and today's actually formal night, so I had to kind of get myself a little bit together at least. The enforcement doesn't seem very strong, though, so I wouldn't worry too much about it if you're thinking about going on Seabourn and you're worried that it's going to be too formal. It's not like the Queen Mary 2, where they were really not kidding that you needed to be formally dressed to go to the venues. Seabourn, I was in the main dining room, and there was a wide array. I mean, certainly there were a lot of people that were very dressed up, but there were also people that weren't, and some that were in between. So yeah, I think they're more strict about whether or not men are wearing a jacket than they are about what women are wearing, which is not uncommon, actually. So anyway, what did I do today? So the Eggs Benedict this morning was wonderful. I also had an almond croissant. I had tea. I was a very happy girl. And then I had, let's see, the first thing I went to was the Seabourn Ventures. The whole team was introduced to us. And it was interesting to find out that it seems that the Zodiac drivers all are captains in their own right. And they're not just driving Zodiacs, they actually have experience as captains of ships, you know, not just Zodiacs. So yeah, and the entire team seems to have a background in either marine life, or some of them were birders, and one of them was into insects. He's the photographer, and one was into rocks. So he's a geologist. So it was interesting, the mix and the makeup of the team. It was a good sized team. You'll see in the footage. So yeah, that was fun. And they talked about, that they can accommodate people if you're worried about whether it's going to be hard to get in and out of a Zodiac, that they will be able to help you and accommodate you, and that they've gotten someone in a wheelchair in there just last week. And so, yeah, they've apparently got some really good experience getting people who might not normally go into the Zodiacs. Kayaks are, the guy who does the kayak, who sort of leads that team, talked, and he said that, that anyone can kayak and all this kind of stuff. I would think that would be a step little further, because kayaking is a bit of a workout. So if there's a whole group of them, and he said that they go at the speed of the slowest boat, I don't know, I'd feel kind of bad if I was the slowest boat. So yeah, maybe that's not when I want to learn kayaking, but yeah, it's okay. I wasn't planning on it. So I did, they did talk about the kayaking, or both kayaking and Zodiac, that they're doing on There's two of them. There's the Hubbard Glacier, which I had already booked, and then there's the Inian Islands, where apparently it's very much a wildlife spotting kind of thing. And so they still had room on that one, so I booked it while I was sitting there listening to the lectures, because you can book it on the app. And I'm looking forward to that. I thought it was sold out, so I was very pleased to see that they still had spots. Either maybe they opened up more or something. I'm not sure what it was. But that was an interesting talk. And let's see, what else did I go to? I did see a tail end of the shore excursions talk, because I was coming in to hear the photography talk. And that was actually useful, because the lady actually told us, because we're disembarking in Juneau, although there's a fair number of people who are not disembarking in Juneau who are just going to take it back to Vancouver again for another week. But they said, if you want to take, if you want to take any of their excursions in Juneau, that they will have a hospitality room on board where you can store your luggage, and then you can go on your shore excursion and then come back and collect your luggage and actually disembark the ship. And I thought that was really nice, because I wanted to go to Mendenhall Glacier, and all of the tours, this is pretty close to the edge of the season, and so a lot of the tours were just not running anymore when we were going to be in town. And so I was going to have to basically rent a car and drive up to Mendenhall Glacier, and then I wanted to do the hike to Nugget Falls. And so that was about $250 for the car rental for one day. And it was through a company where it's like Uber for car rentals. It's called Turo. And so I booked it through that, because the traditional car rentals, nobody had any availability. They didn't have any cars. And so I was like, well, either I'll take an Uber and I was concerned that, there wouldn't be very good coverage to call an Uber to get me back at the Mendenhall Visitor Center. So I was going to just rent a car. And so I had booked it, but since I was going to be able to use their shore excursion instead, they had one that would give us 2 hours at the Visitor Center. And I thought, well, that should be enough. The hike to Nugget Falls is only supposed to be Nugget Falls, not Nugget Halls. It's supposed to be about a mile, and so it's not going to take me 2 hours to walk a mile and then take pictures and then walk back and worry too much about, what I was going to do. I can walk a mile in less than an hour. So yeah, I booked that for $50 and canceled the car. So I think that'll work out well. So anyway, what else did I do today? There was the captain's toast, and that was good to see. And our cruise director apparently came up through as a vocal entertainer. And man, that guy can belt out a song. He sang something from Les Miserables, and yeah, wow, that was impressive. He was at my dinner table last night. The solo hosting of. Well, actually, so what I can tell, last night was solo hosted, because it was, the solo meetup group. And then I got a call today again, whether I wanted to go to a hosted table. And I said, sure. I thought it was going to be the same people, but it wasn't. It was a different person. It was the guest services manager. And we had a smaller table this time, and it wasn't just solo people. There were 2 ladies traveling together, and then a husband and husband, and then me, and then one of the solo ladies who was at yesterday's table, and then the officer. So yeah, that was interesting. So I'm curious whether I'm going to be invited to a hosted table every night. I tell there's a pop-up sushi restaurant for the next few days, so I might just try that tomorrow. I don't know. Too many times in the main dining room can be a little tedious, so I'm going to probably mix it up a bit. But yeah, it was good. Today was the formal night, so there was lobster on the menu, and it was tasty. It was a Maine lobster, and yeah, that was good. So tomorrow I have to be up bright and early, because I have to be down on the dock at 7:15 to meet my tour, which means I have to be up way earlier than that. So I figured I had to go to bed early, because otherwise I was not going to be happy about that alarm when it was going off. And I'm doing the Misty Fjords cruise tour, and I'm really looking forward to that, because it's supposed to be amazing. I tried to get on it on other ships a couple of times and wasn't able to. It was already sold out. So being able to get on it this time really has me happy. So, and the officer was telling me how really it's an amazing tour. So I'm looking forward to it, and I will let you guys know what happens. So Love Sue signing off.